Imagine a man who took $50 billion from thousands of people without using a gun or breaking into a bank. He did not wear a mask. He wore expensive suits. He smiled at world leaders. Famous actors, charities, and smart investors trusted him with all their life savings. For 40 years, he was known as a financial genius. But his secret was so terrible that it destroyed hundreds of lives in a single day. How did one man fool the entire world for so long? And why did no one stop him before it was too late? Let us step inside the quiet office on Wall Street and uncover the biggest lie in human history. Welcome back, my friends. Today, we are going to explore one of the most unbelievable true stories ever told. This is the story of Bernie Madoff. It is a story about money, power, trust, and ultimate betrayal. As you listen, you will practice your English with clear sentences and useful vocabulary, all at an easy A2 to B1 level. Make sure to stay until the very end, because the final lesson of this story can save you from making the biggest mistake of your life. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoy watching stories like these. Find a comfortable place, relax, and let us begin. Bernard Madoff was born on April 29, 1938, in Queens, New York. His family was not rich. His father tried many different small businesses, but most of them failed. Young Bernie saw his parents struggle with money every single day. Bernie looked at the gray streets of Queens. His hands were cold. He made a quiet promise to himself. "I will never be poor," Bernie whispered. In 1960, Bernie married his high school sweetheart, Ruth. He was 22 years old. He had saved $5,000 from working as a lifeguard on the beach and installing sprinkler systems. He decided to start his own investment company. Wall Street was big and intimidating, but Bernie was smart. He used computers when other traders still used paper. His company grew very fast. People liked Bernie because he was calm, soft-spoken, and polite. He looked like a man you could trust with your life. He built a great reputation, but behind his warm smile, a dark ambition was growing. Would his desire for success keep him honest or push him into a dangerous path? By the 1980s, Bernie Madoff was a respected star on Wall Street. He helped create the NASDAQ stock market. He was rich, powerful, and famous. But Bernie offered something even more special, a private investment fund. This fund was like a secret club. You could not simply walk in and give Bernie your money. Bernie said no to almost everyone. "I am sorry," Bernie told rich businessmen at country clubs. "My fund is full. I do not need more clients." When people heard this, they wanted to join even more. It is human nature to desire what you cannot have. If Bernie finally accepted your money, you felt like a winner. You felt safe. Bernie promised a return of 10 to 12% every year. Rain or shine, good economy or bad economy, Bernie's numbers never went down. Other investors lost money during market crashes, but Bernie's clients always gained profits. It seemed like magic. Important people began to talk in whispered voices at exclusive parties. "Bernie Madoff is a wizard," they said. Money started flowing in from everywhere. Rich families in Palm Beach, European banks, and large charitable foundations. Everyone wanted a piece of Bernie's magic. But nobody asked the most important question. How was this magic actually made? To understand Bernie's secret, you must learn one simple phrase: a Ponzi scheme. A Ponzi scheme is not a real business. Bernie did not invest his clients' money in stocks, bonds, or companies. Instead, he took money from new investors and used it to pay fake profits to old investors. Imagine you give Bernie $100. Bernie promises to give you $10 of profit next month. Then, a second person gives Bernie $100. Bernie takes $10 from the second person and gives it to you. You are happy because you got your profit. The second person is happy because they think their money is safe with Bernie. It works perfectly, as long as new people keep giving money to Bernie. Bernie lived in a luxury apartment in Manhattan. He bought yachts, private planes, and expensive houses around the world. He walked through his office on the 19th floor of the Lipstick Building in New York. He looked at his loyal employees and smiled. Everything looked elegant, professional, and successful. But the entire foundation was built on air. How long could Bernie keep building this palace of lies before it crashed to the ground? As years passed, a few smart people began to suspect that something was terribly wrong. One of them was a financial analyst named Harry Markopolos. In 1999, Harry sat at his desk with a calculator and Bernie's financial reports. Harry looked at the numbers for hours. He tried to replicate Bernie's math using complex economic formulas. His forehead was covered in sweat. The math simply did not work. "This is impossible," Harry said to his colleague. "A line cannot go straight up for 10 years without ever dropping. Either Bernie knows something no one else knows, or he is lying." Harry wrote a long report to the Securities and Exchange Commission, the official market government inspectors. The title of his report was direct and scary. "The world's largest hedge fund is a fraud." Harry explained step by step why Bernie Madoff was running a Ponzi scheme. The government inspectors visited Bernie's office. Bernie sat calmly across from them. He smiled, spoke softly, and gave them limited documents. The inspectors were impressed by Bernie's fame and prestige. They did not check his real trading accounts. They closed the investigation and walked away. Harry Markopolos could not sleep at night. He knew a giant monster was growing in the dark, but nobody listened to his warning. For nearly 20 years after Harry's warning, Bernie kept the lie alive. He controlled his secret business from the 17th floor of his building. Only a few trusted employees were allowed on that floor. They used old computer software to print fake trading statements every month. Thousands of clients received these official papers in the mail. They saw steady growth in their accounts and felt happy and secure. Many elderly people gave Bernie all their life savings. They used the monthly profits to pay for their homes, medicine, and retirement. Charities gave Bernie hundreds of millions of dollars to build hospitals and support poor children. Bernie held their entire future in his hands. But by the year 2008, a dark storm cloud appeared over the global economy. The real estate market collapsed. Banks stopped lending money. Big companies went bankrupt. Investors everywhere panicked. They needed cash urgently to pay their debts. In November 2008, Bernie's phone began to ring non-stop. Client after client called with the same request. "Bernie, we need to withdraw our money now," they said. Bernie sat in his leather chair. His hands began to shake. Clients wanted to take out $7 billion, but Bernie only had $200 million left in his bank account. The trap was finally closing. There were no new investors to save him. It was December 10, 2008. The winter wind was cold in New York City. Bernie Madoff knew that the game was over. He could not run anymore. He called his two sons, Mark and Andrew, into his private office. Mark and Andrew worked in another division of Bernie's company. They believed their father was an honest, successful man. Bernie looked at his sons. His face was pale. His voice was barely a whisper. "I have nothing left," Bernie said. "It is all just one big lie." His son stared at him in complete shock. "What are you talking about, Dad?" Mark asked. "The business is a fraud," Bernie admitted, looking at the floor. "It is a giant Ponzi scheme. There are no investments. The money is gone. It is all gone." Mark and Andrew could not believe their ears. Their entire world shattered in a single second. They walked out of the office, horrified. They spoke to a lawyer, and that night, they called the police. Early the next morning, on December 11, 2008, federal agents knocked loudly on Bernie Madoff's door. Bernie opened the door in his bathrobe. He looked tired and defeated. An agent asked, "Is there an innocent explanation for this?" Bernie sighed quietly and replied, "There is no innocent explanation. I did it all myself." The handcuffs clicked around his wrists. The king of Wall Street was going to prison. The news exploded across television screens, newspapers, and the internet worldwide. People could not believe the headline: Bernie Madoff arrested for a $65 billion scam. The human cost was terrifying. Thousands of ordinary people woke up to discover that their entire life savings had vanished overnight. Pensioners lost their homes. Students could not pay for university. Famous charities had to close their doors forever. A respected French aristocrat who had lost his family's money with Madoff sat alone in his office and took his own life. Tragedy also struck Bernie's family. His son Mark suffered from intense public shame and constant legal pressure. 2 years after his father's arrest, Mark ended his life. Bernie's wife, Ruth, was evicted from her apartment. The government seized her jewelry, clothes, and bank accounts. She moved into a small home and lived in quiet obscurity. Bernie Madoff had built an empire of dreams, but it turned into a nightmare that destroyed everyone who loved him. In 2009, Bernie stood before a federal judge in a packed courtroom. He pleaded guilty to 11 federal crimes. The judge sentenced him to 150 years in prison, the maximum allowed by law. Bernie was sent to a medium security prison in North Carolina. He wore a gray uniform and scrubbed floors for a few dollars a day. On April 14, 2021, Bernie Madoff died alone in prison at the age of 82. No family members attended his burial. The story of Bernie Madoff is not just a historical event about Wall Street. It is a timeless warning for every single one of us about human nature. Why did so many smart, powerful people fall into Bernie's trap for decades? Because of two powerful emotions: greed and blind trust. We want to believe in easy solutions. We want to believe that someone special can offer us guaranteed success without any risk. When someone tells us what we desperately want to hear, we stop asking tough questions. We turn a blind eye to obvious warnings. True success, stable wealth, and genuine fluency in life or language cannot be built on shortcuts or secret formulas. They are built day by day through clear thinking, honest work, and staying alert. Do not let shiny promises blind your eyes. Protect your mind, protect your trust, and always look closely at what lies beneath the surface. As we look back at the rise and fall of Bernie Madoff, we feel a deep sense of reflection. A man who had intelligence, family, and respect traded it all for fake numbers on paper. He died alone in a dark room, leaving behind broken hearts and ruined lives. Let this story remind you to cherish what is real, to value honesty over quick gains, and to walk through life with your eyes wide open. Thank you so much for watching and practicing your English with me today. I would love to hear your thoughts. What part of Bernie Madoff's story surprised you the most? Was it the brave Inspector Harry Markopoulos or the tragic story of Bernie's family? Please leave a comment below. I read every single one. Check out another interesting story too. If you found this story valuable, please click the like button and subscribe to our channel right now. Keep learning, don't be fooled, and I will see you in the next story.